SCEducationLottery.com/educationwins for more information.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Looking for a truck dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, your truck headquarters. Proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're after a brand new Silverado, a tough pre-owned truck, or expert service, you'll find it all right here with a huge selection and the best truck deals around. There's no better place to shop. Visit HerndonChevy.com or stop by today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Keep your career moving forward with growth opportunities, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces. Go to careers.progressive.com and apply today.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Join us for the third annual Get Your Rear in Gear 5K on Saturday, May 30th at Saluda Shoals Park. It's a day of fun for everyone with a Kids Fun Run, a timed 5K run, and a 5K walk. Enjoy live music, a Kids Zone, and explore the 25-foot inflatable walk through colon. Colon cancer patients and survivors register for free and visit the Survivor booth for a special gift. Register now and use code HOPE10 for $10 off your registration. Don't miss out. Get your rear in gear and support a great cause. Sponsored by WKTC-TV. Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Final check on the traffic. Still got that accident there clearing out Park Lane Road near Parkview Drive. Also, still dealing with Piney Grove Road at Bauer Parkway, Three Dog Road at Dutch Fork Road. We've added Augusta Highway near Miscog Church Road and Air Base Road at Lower Richland Boulevard. That's it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Up next, Connecting Carolinas, our buddy Scott Hamilton, presented by FanStream Sports with executive producer Kale. That's next here on the postgame show. We're done. Scott's next here on the game.
Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. It's 6 p.m. on 107.5 The Game and The Game Network. Time for Connecting Carolinas with Scott Hamilton. Presented by FanStream Sports. On The Game, the 107.5 The Game app, and at The Game TV Radio on YouTube.
It's Connecting Carolina, presented by FanStream Sports. Scott Hamilton here for the next hour to try to close out the day with the topics and the subjects and the news that's impacting Carolinas, this region of our beautiful country. We got Kale behind the glass at the steel wheels trying to keep this thing moving on day one. But I've got to admit, it is the first day, but I am already distracted. I come in, I'm preparing, I want this whole endeavor to kick off just seamlessly, just be perfect. I've got my notes. I've got everything outlined. And there's something called the topic tree, where you have a topic, you flesh it out, and then you could talk seamlessly about it, or at least that's the theory. Wrong. I got distracted by a story in Vanity Fair, of all things. Lane Kiffin, a.k.a. Joey Freshwater, he does it again. And I'm trying to fully digest this article. It's a very well-written piece, by the way. The reporter/writer, his name is Chris Smith. I'm trying to effort him to bring him onto the show later in the week. But there's so much to unpack in this piece. And it has me totally off kilter. Lane is doing everything. First of all, he's classic Lane. He's classic Lane, which means he's not wrong. He's right. Everybody else is wrong. Everybody else sucks. He's smart. We're dumb. He's handsome. We're ugly. Blah, blah, blah. You get it. But he actually goes in some directions that I wouldn't expect even for him. And once more, I'm trying to unpack it all, but I'm going to throw this out there. He's kind of throwing Oxford, Mississippi under the bus when it comes to race relations. We'll chop that up maybe next segment. There's just so much here to get to. And of course, it has all the usual stuff, typical background about his father, the great Monty Kiffin, legendary defensive coordinator in the NFL, about his awkward, short-lived, probably, relationship, that would be the better way to describe it, with Al Davis. How Knoxville nearly burned itself to the ground the night he left to go to Southern Cal after one season. And a lot of it mirrors the fairy tale in the documentary. We remember how they propped him up in that documentary, they being ESPN, the worldwide leader. A better Lane Kiffin. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and roll with this because I can't get anything else off my mind. By the way, we've got Craig Bohl, Executive Director of the American Football Coaches Association, coming aboard at 6:30. He's going to join us. I want to discuss with him the news from last week, his organization rubber stamping basically, or at least giving its seal of approval for an expanded college football playoff. They don't outline the exact size of the field, but the words they used were, quote, maximum number of participants. I'm going to ask him about that. I'm going to ask him, what does he say to people who call it an access grab, participation trophies? And also just talk to him about the changes they recommended with the ebb and flow of the season. To begin the season at what is now week 0, make that week 1, to eliminate one of the bye weeks, but mandate you have to have at least 6 days between each game. I dig it. That's cool. But not have conference championships anymore? That's a bummer. But the positive on the end of that is that the season would wrap up in mid-January. We'll dive more into that later in the show. And, of course, when Craig Bohl, Executive Director of the AFCA, joins us at 6:30. But back to this Lane Kiffin spread. I'm totally distracted. And I apologize. You talk about stumbling out of the batter's box. That's what I'm doing. But I cannot help myself. And when you click on the article, I don't actually have the magazine in hand. What do you think I am, a Gen Xer? I'm reading it online, baby. And the main head, before you click on the article, it says, Lane Kiffin explains himself. Well, of course, the Freud in me sees it as Lane Kiffin exposes himself. Hello. The Joey Freshwater in him coming out. You know what I mean. If you know, you know. But then you click on it, and it is indeed a more traditional take on the Lane Kiffin saga. That's him in the spotlight. How Lane Kiffin eagerly became the most polarizing coach in college football. And there it begins. And it's a picture of Lane, jeans and plain white T-shirt, arms crossed, looking solemnly kind of at the camera, but kind of not at the camera. It's classic Vanity Fair. There's a black and white spread down lower in the article where it's like 4 panels of pictures of him giving various expressions, but they all have a smirk. Lane, look happy. Smirk. Lane, look angry. Smirk. Lane, look sad. Smirk. Indeed, he is playing the role of the Eddie Haskell of college football. And again, it goes through and tells the usual stuff. Prodigy, coaching prodigy, football prodigy, how he flamed out at Fresno State as a player, and he just shows up and decides he wants to be a coach. It's just typical Lane Kiffin start to finish. But here's the best part. And this is what really, really, really intrigued me. And it's not far down in the article. It might be 6 graphs in, and this is a big piece, by the way. It's worth your time. This is what Chris Smith, once more the author of this profile of Lane Kiffin in Vanity Fair, this is what he wrote, and I'm quoting verbatim, but it will be censored. After 4 hours of talking with Kiffin, I'm stumped, is he endearingly sincere or so full of blah, 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 that it's an art form, close quote. You know what, Chris Smith of Vanity Fair? We've all been asking ourselves that question for years, but especially over the past 2 or 3 years. Since Ole Miss elevated itself to really never-before-seen heights under Lane Kiffin. Since Ole Miss positioned itself as the destination when it came to transfer portal players. When Lane Kiffin dubbed himself the transfer portal king. Up until then, as I said, he was the Eddie Haskell of coaches, but then he went next level. There's so much to unpack in this article. And Kiffin, here you go. Though Kiffin regrets the bitter ending, he blames the football calendar for his ugliness. Deflect. He blames the calendar for the way he left Ole Miss on the eve of the college football playoff, the first appearance in school history. How he bolted. Typical Kiffin. He blames someone else. And look, I get it. I have no problem with him going to LSU. I truly don't. Go get your bag, man. Go somewhere where you get just incredible resources and show us how you can cook. What does a totally unleashed Lane Kiffin look like? We might find out this fall. That's how soon it could happen. I get it. But, dude, don't play the game that you were playing with all of us. Am I going? Am I not going? He poured ice-cold water over what should have been a golden age for Ole Miss football. The days and weeks leading up to that college football playoff appearance were clouded, shrouded like a funeral by the possibility, the likelihood, the reality of Lane Kiffin leaving and going for LSU or Florida. Don't forget Florida was in this mess. He was dating 2 girls while he was already married to 1. And he loved it. He loved it. Art imitates life. Because that's kind of what he was doing in real life. But I digress. And the Kiffin gang, and that's what I'm going to call them, the Kiffin gang, were complicit. They encouraged this. He's sending his ex-wife to look at houses, to scout Gainesville, Florida, to scout Baton Rouge. The Kiffin gang. Meanwhile, his team, God love their little hearts, trying not to be distracted, trying to focus on the task at hand, this monumental moment in the history of Ole Miss football. Maybe, and I'm going to throw it out there, Ole Miss athletics, besides the heyday of Archie Manning and the years before, the Vaught days, besides that, or even the College World Series victory. They were complicit. So much to unpack here, man. Do we ever find out what happened to Juice? Juice the dog, where are you? Who has you? Are you safe? Are you being taken care of? Are you getting walked regularly, dude? Let somebody know. The way he was positioned, he used the dog to paint this false narrative that he was a reinvented man. What he did in that documentary, and I said this to multiple people. I remember firing off text after text after text. the night the Lane Kiffin documentary premiered. I said, this is beautiful. This is a requiem for divorced dads everywhere. Because you could almost feel his anguish. You could feel how he twisted and he was dealing with regret. That when he would go in to do hot yoga, it was his opportunity to sweat out the burdens that were haunting him. Wrong. It was all an act. He has more skills. He has more ability than Olivier. He has more ability than De Niro, Pacino, you name them. All the greats on the Mount Rushmore of acting are nothing compared to Lane Kiffin. Nothing. And ergo, you have Chris Smith, writer for Vanity Fair, writing that line, is he endearingly sincere or so full of you-know-what that it's an art form? Acting's an art. Kiffin is an artist. But we have to ask ourselves this as well. Is Vanity Fair complicit in this by giving him the attention that he craves? All they're doing is flaming this persona, flaming his shtick, his game, his hustle, his jive. They're enabling him to go full Joey Freshwater on the covers and the pages of this esteemed magazine. And I'm guilty as well. I can't turn away. I don't know if it's because of this emotional roller coaster I have with him, that I couldn't stand him. Then I thought he was kind of cool. Then I'm like, oh, well, I actually like him. And then I'm pissed off at him. And then I'm like, well, I don't know. But he's in the conversation. And that's how he wins. That's what ticked Al Davis off. Al Davis got snookered back in the day. And for those who are not informed, for the uninitiated, Lane Kiffin, 31 years old, I believe. I might be slightly mistaken. Head coach of the Oakland Raiders. Then Oakland Raiders. Al Davis bought everything. Al Davis thought he was being a renegade by hiring him, that he was the ultimate renegade, the OG of renegades, and he ends up getting burned by his one-time hopeful prodigy. Al Davis was ticked. But somewhere in the great beyond, Al Davis now is shaking his head going, they got me too, and now I got the rest of you. I'm going to chop this up tonight and try to come to some kind of conclusion of why this guy fires me up so much. And try to reconcile, perhaps read between the lines of who he really is, what he really is, and what he's really all about. Meanwhile, on the other side, we got a lot to get to as far as news. Score Act in the news up on Capitol Hill. ACC meetings down in Florida. And let's talk about that expanded college football playoff. A lot to get to, a lot to discuss. We'll touch on all we can. Man, I'm still ticked about Lane Kiffin. Connecting Carolina, presented by FanStream Sports. It's 107.5 The Game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
South Carolina men's head basketball coach Lamont Paris is coming back next year, and Coach Paris has to fill out his roster, so the transfer portal will be vital to success in 2026-27.
All this isn't about just NIL. I think there are a lot of components to putting a team together. How do pieces fit together? What does a player play? The fashion and style of ball that you would like roles are important.
And the game will dig into every player.
Even what they ate in elementary school.
On your home of everything Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
And The Game Network.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Sponsored by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You think a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt is the worst that could happen until you get in a crash. Suddenly, a ticket doesn't seem so bad. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Elijah Campbell here from 107.5 The Game, and spring cleaning meets hosting season with Zerorez. Get carpets cleaned for just $35 per room, and stairs are now only $35 too. Plus, take $50 off that air duct cleaning by mentioning 107.5 The Game. Look now at ZerorezColumbia.com and get guest ready today.
Let's text and tell you with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details.
The Carpocalypse at JT's Kia is happening now. Save thousands on brand new JT's Kia to escape the zombie horde and back from the dead cost. JT's got 0% for 72 months. We'll pay $5,000 over book value for your trade. JT says escape high gas prices with $1,000 in gas with every new vehicle. Don't miss JT's Carpocalypse sale happening now. JT's Kia, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
The Colonial Life Charity Classic is coming to the Wood Creek Club right here in Columbia, May 14th through the 17th. This is your chance to watch the next generation of PGA Tour stars up close. Before Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler were household names, they were right here on the Korn Ferry Tour. This is where the journey begins. Every shot bringing them closer to the PGA Tour. Tomorrow's champions are teeing it up today. Get your tickets now for the Colonial Life Charity Classic.
New tires do more than keep you rolling. They make every drive smoother, quieter, and more efficient. At Wetzel's Automotive, we carry top brand tires to fit your vehicle and every budget. As your neighborhood shop, we take time to mount, balance, and align them the right way so you'll enjoy better handling and longer tire life. Plus, free rotations with your tire purchase help you get the most miles out of every set. For friendly service and trusted care, visit us at 2017 Augusta Road in West Columbia or online at wetzelsauto.com.
The future stars of the PGA Tour are coming to Columbia. The Colonial Life Charity Classic is bringing championship golf to the Wood Creek Club May 14th through 17th. Be there to experience the intensity up close as tomorrow's champions battle it out on every hole. Bring the family and take in the tournament atmosphere, excitement, and a full week of entertainment built for all ages. Don't miss your chance to witness the journey to the top. The Colonial Life Charity Classic. Get your tickets now.
Do you have gold you don't need? Are you looking to get cash? At Traditions Fine Jewelers, it only takes a few minutes for them to check, but you'll be amazed at what cash it brings. Did you know if you had gold the size and weight of a quarter, you would generate $177 in 10 karat or $248 in 14 karat? Want to trade your gold? The same quarter gold would generate $303 in 10 karat or $425 in 14 karat. Traditions Fine Jewelers, Sunset Boulevard in Lexington or at the Village at Sandhills. Always giving you more for your gold.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Connecting Carolinas with Scott Hamilton, presented by FanStream Sports on the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
We've got Craig Bohl, Executive Director, the American Football Coaches Association, coming up in about 10 minutes. We're going to find out what went into that vote by the board of the AFCA last week. And it's worth revisiting, I guess, right now. They wanted to end that football season, college football season, by the second Monday in January. That was one of the things they voted on. They're all recommendations that they will pass on to the appropriate entities, college football playoff, NCAA, so on and so forth. They want to make week 0 the start of the season. Eliminate conference championship games. Expand the CFP to, quote, the maximum number of participants. Preserve a dedicated window for the Army-Navy game But playoff games, potential playoff games could be played on that day and then have a minimum 6 days between games. So I'm cool with that. That is all fine. I have no problem with that right there at all. The conference championship games, I'm going to have a difficult time reconciling. I see value in those still, not just monetarily, but I don't know, man. It feels right. I am of an age where getting ready to watch the SEC championship game, regardless of who was in it, and let's face it, it was usually the usual suspects, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, you get what I'm saying. You still sat and we watched it. To have that go away, I just feel like it kind of marginalizes the regular season even more. And that's what's happening with an expanded playoff. The regular season is being marginalized more and more. It still matters. Make no mistake about it. It mattered with a 14 playoff. It still matters tremendously with a 12-team playoff. I think that's the right number. Yes, you have more wiggle room. I get it. But the trade-off is more teams are in play. And not just anybody. You've still got to have an excellent season to be able to get into that conversation. More games matter late. That might be the best way to frame it. To go to 24, and of course the coaches want it. And the coaches who are wanting it are obviously the G5 or coaches at places such as Kentucky, where they want an easier path to get into the party. But that's what they talk about, getting into the party. More and more coaches don't talk about winning a championship. They talk about getting in the playoff. And I realize that you can't win a championship unless you're in the playoff. And if you follow Saban's process, it's one thing after another after another. I get that. But the goal should be clearly stated, win a championship. Well, our goal is to make the playoff. Nope. Win a championship. You're already hurting yourself out of the gate. It's a self-defeating prophecy. And that's a question I have for Craig Bohl when he joins us in a few minutes. Is it an access grab? How do you respond to people who say making the playoff a 24-team affair is nothing but an access grab? To get more teams in, more money, stuff all the content that TV can handle, fatten the coffers of these conferences, and provide longer runways for these coaches by getting in the playoff. Don't have to win, just get in. You don't have to win, just get in. Hey, guess what? Those days are over. Those days are gone. There's too much investment all around now. The runways are inherently shorter because of all the cash that's being thrown out there. Well, we'll ask Craig Bohl what he thinks when he joins us at 6:30. Here's a bit of news today, though, that kind of dovetails into all this. The SCORE Act, that bit of legislation that's been meandering around Capitol Hill, it's getting ready to make another run at the U.S. House of Representatives. A third run, by the way, to the U.S. House of Representatives. The Rules Committee, they're going to meet Monday. And it could hit the House the following Wednesday or Thursday. And what are some of the points now that are going to be addressed? Well, here's one. Coaches paid to be funded by athletic revenue. What a novel idea. To actually have the athletic department pay coaches' salaries rather than it coming from other sources like, say, deep-pocketed boosters with beaucoup dollars who can get who they want, when they want, however they want. Here's another one. Same vein. Limit coaching buyouts to donations. That I dig. If Johnny Booster is ticked off at the coach and wants him gone, guess what, bruh? You're going to write the check. School ain't paying for it. School ain't going to do it. State ain't going to do it. You got to do it, bruh. I'm cool with that. I think that makes so much sense. Here's another one, and this is a lot more serious than you realize. As somebody who's lived in the print world for a long time and has dealt with myriad public records requests and all sorts of things like that, this is big. Mandate the disclosure of public funds used for athletics. I know that this could refer to how much athletes are getting. We're talking specifically from the House settlement, perhaps? We want to know the proportions, the margins, how's it sliced up? How much is football getting? How much is basketball getting? How much is each individual athlete getting? Does the starting quarterback obviously make more than the third-string left guard? Let's see the flow chart. And here's the best one to wrap it up with. Number 4, prevent the recruitment of coaches while said coach/team are in season. Or as our friend Ross Dellinger put it, the Lane Kiffin rule. What a fresh concept. Now, it's hard to police that, given how adept and skillful these administrators are at using back channels and the reverse agents. You can't stop somebody from talking to somebody else, I guess. Deals are worked in secret and shadowy contract negotiations. But if you put it on paper, and then some diligent reporter, detective, amateur sleuth in the bleachers decides they want to just figure out how all this really went down, and it comes to light that it wasn't above board, then there would be repercussions. Right now, no repercussions. There was nothing to stop LSU in Florida from talking to Jimmy Sexton about Lane Kiffin. Nothing. At least this would be some kind of hindrance. Or, I know it's pie in the sky and I'm being naive. But if it's on paper and you get caught, you'll get pinched. Right now, there's no fear. There's no fear. NCAA is supporting all this, by the way. And you have to remember that one of the things that the SCORE Act was initially supposed to do was to restrict, basically, NCAA power. To reel in NCAA oversight. But here's the funny thing. It was also supposed to limit lawsuits. Man, where have you been? We need that. It is no joke when we talk about court dates as much as schedule dates for the games. It's almost like FBS Schedules, that fantastic website that has all the college football schedules, should also have a separate page just for significant court dates. Oh, Charles Bediaco, Alabama. Oh, we can't remember. Can't forget about that one. Oh. Will this happen? Don't know. Probably get shot down in Senate. But I have to think that if this gets out of the Rules Committee and if it passes through the House, that if it goes to Senate, there might be enough momentum to maybe push for some modicum of change that might get passed. Probably more pie in the sky because I'm a cockeyed optimist on this Monday. Craig Bohl, Executive Director, American Football Coach Association, on the other side. Going to ask him those questions about an expanded playoff and no conference championships. We'll see what he says. It's Connecting Carolina, presented by FanStream Sports. 107.5 The Game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
We love to hear your opinion. Go to @1075 The Game on Twitter X and participate in our polls. Our Twitter X polls sponsored by IntelliSystems. Schedule a cyber audit today at IntelliSystems.com.
Are you considering a new roof or repairs but unsure where to start? Crescent Construction offers free roofing estimates to help you make informed decisions with ease. Our expert team is ready to assess your needs and provide comprehensive insights. Visit our website, CrescentCarolina.com, to learn more about our services and schedule your free estimate today. Trust us to guide you through the process with professionalism and care. Don't wait. Contact us today at CrescentCarolina.com.
Progressive presents Perfectly Bad Excuses for Missing Stuff to spend more time on your motorcycle.
Hey, Tom. Gonna miss the 5K. Gotta organize my vitamins. A, B, C. There's so many. D.
Now that was a bad excuse. If you love your vehicle this much, get customized coverage from Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
The cost of higher ed seems higher than ever. So for most, there's a difference between what scholarships cover and what school really costs. Fortunately, South Carolina Student Loan has been helping students and families close that price tag gap for 50 years. We're here for you to help cover tuition, books, meals, housing, and other educational expenses. Plus, because we're a not-for-profit, we're able to offer competitive rates and flexible options. So get the money you need for school today at scstudentloan.org.
Looking for a truck dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, your truck headquarters, proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're after a brand new Silverado, a tough pre-owned truck, or expert service, you'll find it all right here with a huge selection and the best truck deals around. There's no better place to shop. Visit HerndonChevy.com or stop by today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Join us for the 3rd annual Get Your Rear in Gear 5K on Saturday, May 30th at Saluda Shoals Park. It's a day of fun for everyone with a Kids Fun Run, a timed 5K run, and a 5K walk. Enjoy live music, a Kids Zone, and explore the 25-foot inflatable walk through colon. Colon cancer patients and survivors register for free and visit the Survivor booth for a special gift. Register now and use code HOPE10 for $10 off your registration. Don't miss out. Get your rear in gear and support a great cause. Sponsored by WKTC TV.
Powered by Integrated Media.
The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Connecting Carolinas with Scott Hamilton. Presented by FanStream Sports. On the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
All right, Coach. 3, 2. Last week, the American Football Coaches Association having a vote and putting forth some support to change the college football calendar, impacting the calendar in myriad ways. And I think this is one of the biggest sessions perhaps in the history of that organization. We're going to see if my guest agrees with me. Longtime coach at North Dakota State, longtime coach at Wyoming. He is now the executive director of the AFCA. Craig Bohl, welcome aboard. And you heard me introduce you. Was this one of the more impactful meetings that the AFCA's had?
Well, we've had several of them over the last couple of years in the sea of change, and things are moving at an exponential pace. College coaches have coalesced and put forth what we think are some common sense approaches, one being changing the portal windows from 2 to 1. We're in the process, we think, of engaging on 5 years of eligibility. We worked on the recruiting calendar in the past. What we have seen as a problematic situation with the seas of change is that the calendar, has really become problematic, and it's kind of like we've been putting Band-Aids on this whole enterprise. And so I'm comprised with a subgroup headed by Josh Brooks, the athletic director of Georgia, who's a good man, and we're trying to work through the seas of change. And we came together as a foundation, not a foundation board, but the AFCA Board of Trustees in Dallas, and we tackled what we felt like was a problem. And Scott, the biggest thing is the season we think has gone too long. We're going to have a championship game January 25th. So our main purpose is let's get to playing football back to a one-semester sport where the semester ends and we can co-link with the academic calendars. And with that means that there's going to be some changes that we have proposed. And that has caused up quite a bit of discussion, but we think our position has rationale, and so it's a bold move, it's a bold statement, and we released it.
Well, Coach, before we get into the details of some of these proposals, I like the idea of it being a one-semester sport. I mean, that's what I always knew when I was playing. That's what you knew primarily when you were coaching. But I'm wondering this. Do you ever hear from your peers in basketball? Because I have to think it's a good thing for basketball, also for college football to be wrapped up as soon as possible so they can have their time so the spotlight can shine on basketball.
Well, you know, in the midst of all this chaos, we have reached out to some coaches. Coach Calipari and I have probably had maybe 10 conversations about some of the challenges we have, specifically with eligibility. You know, the discussion of how football season leaks into basketball, you know, that has not really been a point of discussion. We've just tried to operate in our lanes that make sense to both of us. And so we're both confronted with problems or challenges or opportunities.
Joined by Craig Ball, Executive Director of the American Football Coaches Association. Coach, the AFCA coming out, throwing its support towards a expanded college football playoff, but not exactly a specific model for expansion. Why does the AFCA think more teams is better?
Well, one of the things that we're looking at is what we found is our coaches would like to have more access to the playoffs. And, you know, I was part of the old BCS formula at Nebraska when there was just 2, and then we expanded to 4. I was also part of the NCAA FCS platform, and really I thought it was a great platform, and I think there's a way to integrate it with our bowl games. So the discussion on where we're at, whether 12 is enough, whether 16 or 24, we stayed neutral as far as 18, or not 18, but 16 to 24. A lot of our coaches would like 24, some like 16, but we just think there needs to be more access to the playoffs.
What do you say to people, though, who call it just an access grab?
What do I say when they're talking an access ad? I would say this is those teams that you saw where Miami got hot at the tail end of the year here, and it was really debated whether they should have been in or Notre Dame. And then also for some group of 6 teams to have access. And so this is where we think as coaches that field is a little bit restrictive. I know people have said coaches need to stay out of this. This is not the AFCA matter, but we're the ones that are championing these teams. And then also what we felt like was going to be important is we need to look at what we're doing in December and saying there's some windows to play in December right now that are not being taken advantage of, and craft a pathway forward to, okay, if we're going to go start the season with week 0 now, we can move the season up a week. We can put a window around the Army-Navy game, which I love, the Army-Navy game. Right now, it's a whole day. We're agreeing with President Trump that there should be just a window around the game that we could play on that game, and then we have to start looking and saying, what is the relevancy of these conference championship games? A lot of people are starting to say, you know what, these are not as significant as they once were. And whereas coaches, we're also sensitive to the fact that's a huge revenue driver for conferences. And so trying to come up with a mechanism to have that put forward is going to be really important.
Of all the matters that you guys discussed, talking about moving up the season to week 0, eliminating conference championship games, and this one I really like, Coach, the minimum 6 days between games. I think that's just common sense. But which one of those topics did you find was the most contentious, got the most debate, was split more down the middle in the room?
Some of them were like really low-hanging fruit. The first one was coaches were very receptive to saying, you know what, if we're going to give 2 bye weeks, we would prefer to just shorten the season as opposed to having 2 bye weeks. That was the first one. The other one was the CFP has a standard operating procedure of 7 days in between, and we felt like, to have an opportunity to move the season up, a coach could get his team ready to go in 6 days. That was easy. I think that the couple of the topics that came up is the conference championship game. Some coaches are still very supportive of that. And then also the Army-Navy game. So I would probably circle back to the conference championship game, though, first.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. And I have this idea, Coach, and you know better than I do. I think it's almost a generational thing. I mean, we've gotten used to a conference championship game for more than 30 years now. It's become a part of our sport. I have to think that the coaches who have been around longer are the ones wanting to hang on to it. Maybe it's this other generation more willing to let it go. Am I reading the room right?
Oh, I think I wouldn't say you're completely on point. There's some coaches that are maybe more traditional or a conference that may have more of an impact. But I even think you're seeing some of, I know Greg Byrne at Alabama, who's a dear friend of mine, the AD, felt like, that the conference championship game has lost its relevancy. He made a statement, and, Bama's is probably as deep in that series as anybody. And so I think we got to take a hard look at that, but without question, that's a huge revenue driver. And what does it mean? And I think also now what people are saying is we don't want to minimize the regular season play, and does the conference championship game at the end really have an impact on where this team gets slotted and getting ready for the college football playoffs?
And Coach, my last question, I guess, is do you guys engage, or have you been engaged, or do you expect to engage the conference commissioners? Because when you start talking about eliminating conference championship games, you're talking about their livelihood, their pocketbooks.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And if you can read the tea leaves, the conference commissioners are divided on this issue. And, we're sensitive to those things. I'm responsible to represent the coaches and the coach's voice. And if the coach's voice may go in opposition to a conference commissioner, our perspective is we may not agree on everything, but if we did, we wouldn't have much to talk about. And we understand our vote and our position. We're not a legislative body. We're an organized group of coaches that puts forth what we think is important for the betterment of football. But in this area, in the CFP, I mean, we've got no legislative vote. And Commissioner Sankey, I believe, acknowledged that, and Feynman said that too. But I can tell you, we have a perspective on getting a football team ready. It's crazy to go 25 days. Joey McGuire at Texas Tech went 25 days in between playing. And what was viewed as an advantage of having a bye, look at the numbers of teams that have had that long bye and they've gotten knocked off after that bye. And so this is where the guys that are actually the boots on the ground are saying, we can do this better than what we're doing. And so we voice it. If we don't voice our opinion to the conference commissioners and the powers to be in college football, then we're going to stand mute and we're just going to get memos. If we see something that can be better changed, we're going to voice our opinion in a respectful way.
Well, Coach, and I'm sorry, but I lied. Let me ask you this last question then. From that angle, does that make it more imperative than ever that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is loaded with as many coaches, former coaches at least, as possible?
Well, here's what I will say is, and I appreciate your question on that. What I have found is learning a little bit more about the CFP, the people that are on the selection process actually operate separately from the board of managers. And the conference commissioners are the ones that dictate not who gets in the CFP, but the structure and the dates and the playing times of the CFP. And so our audience is not so much the selection committee. The audience is those commissioners and then the presidents who are working the CFP. We think college football has never been more popular, but with the sea of change, we think there needs to be some change with it, and the CFP has not changed.
It's definitely a time, though, when you have to be willing to adapt. He's Craig Bohl, Executive Director of the American Football Coaches Association. Coach, appreciate your time today, pal, really.
You bet. Appreciate the coverage and champion college football. Bye now.
All righty.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Hey, this is Tyler Head from 107.5 The Game and The Game Network. If you run a diner, bakery, coffee shop, burger joint, pizza spot, or that hidden gem everybody should know about, how would you like to get the word out about your business without spending a dime? Well, we got you. All you have to do is text your name, your business, and your phone number to 803-404-6100, and we'll be in touch. There is no catch. Times are tough, and we're here just trying to help you get folks in the door of your business.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Don't you just love it when karma works? The Pacers thought they could tank this season and land a top pick to compete again next year, but they flirted with doing it all for nothing when they traded 2 first-round picks to the Clippers for Ivica Zubac. One of those first-rounders was unprotected if the Pacers fell out of the top 4 in the NBA draft, and yesterday in the lottery, they did exactly that, falling to number 5. Their pick goes to the Clippers, and they've tanked for nothing. Eat it, Indy. I'm Pat Boyle.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle, the eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag, and the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 biggie bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. 4, $6, and $8 biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and
Sports fans, your midday huddle is here. Catch the J.P. Peterson Show weekdays from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern on FanStreamSports.com and the FanStream Sports mobile app. J.P. brings sharp insight and real talk. IndyCar Tim brings the big laughs. It's Buccaneers, Rays, Lightning, and everything wild in sports. Smart, opinionated, and always entertaining. Don't miss the J.P. Peterson Show. Sports talk done right. Only on FanStreamSports.com. Available wherever you get your podcasts or always on demand at FanStreamSports.com.
Elijah Campbell here from 107.5 The Game, and spring cleaning is in full swing. And if you're hosting graduation parties or family get-togethers, Zerorez can help you get your home ready. Get carpets cleaned for just $35 per room and stairs for only $35, 50% off the standard price, plus take $50 off air duct cleaning, all by mentioning 107.5 The Game. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just a deeper clean that lasts longer. Appointments are filling fast. Visit ZerorezColumbia.com to book today.
Plus text tags and title with approved credit. Call 866-243-4623 for details. JT's Carpocalypse sale is happening now at JT's Jeep Ram. Save thousands on brand new Jeeps and Rams to escape the zombie horde at back from the dead costs. We've got 0% for 72 months. We'll pay $5,000 over book value for your trade. Escape high gas prices with $1,000 in gas with every new vehicle. End of the world savings and everything must go at JT's Jeep Ram, 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Declaration of Deal Sales Event.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. What are your rights and responsibilities? Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
1201 Main Street, Columbia.
Connecting Carolinas with Scott Hamilton. Presented by FanStream Sports. On the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Making the final lap. Connecting Carolina, presented by FanStream Sports. Here's an interesting thing that just popped up on the Twitterverse. SEC, and it's by @SEC Country, by the way. SEC football programs have paid over $300 million in buyouts from fired head coaches just since 2020. Note, big note, Jeremy Pruitt was not included because he was fired for cause. That was at UT. Now, of course, Jimbo is anchoring this with his 77 going away gift. $77 million. But some of these numbers are staggering. Auburn, God bless Auburn's heart. Auburn is on here 3 times. Gus Malzahn's $21.5 million. Hugh Freeze's $15.8, and Brian Harsin $15.3. Remember that guy? Brian Harsin, coach of the Tigers for a minute. They are 4th, 7th, and 8th highest totals since 2020. That is sad. Of course, our buddy Will Muschamp is on here, $12.9 million. But that is sad. How inept can you be when over the past 6 years, we'll say 2020, that's what the list is, you make the list 3 times for not only firing coaches, but having the 3 highest buyouts? I mean, what? Okay, first of all, it's bad enough that you've had to go through 3 coaches during that time span. But to have the buyouts be so egregious, I'm wondering, will that roll back at all if the SCORE Act and these changes that are being proposed to the SCORE Act, will that change if these go through? Remember, that's one of the things that's being requested. Number 4, number 2, limits coaching buyouts to donations. I'm all for it. All these make so much sense. They really do. Coaches pay to be funded by athletic revenue. That'll roll back those exorbitant salaries. And you know what? It would actually probably make coaches feel more accountable, which would go back to my argument earlier that they are just so satisfied to merely make the playoff. If they're being funded by athletic department revenue, i.e. school revenue, or are we talking if the athletic department, and again, I'm throwing darts here, are we talking about if they are separate entities the way they are at the University of Kentucky where they created that, I don't think it's an LLC, but it's a for-profit entity apart from the university. I don't think they've fleshed this part of it out yet, so I'll have to do some research, maybe reach out to Ross Dellinger, who broke the story. Limit coaching buyouts to donations. I love. I can't help but to think, though, that the majority of this buyout money, these 3 buyouts, these exorbitant buyouts that Auburn has paid over the last 6 years, I can't help but to think that that's actually been a lot of donor money as well. But, hey, go ahead. If you want the coach gone that badly, get out your checkbook, pal. Stroke a check, he'll be gone. Otherwise, shut up, let the AD work, let the coach work. Let them cook. Here's another one. And the Lane Kiffin rule, we went over it. And the whole Lane Kiffin article, which I'm still trying to digest. I see a late night of reading this Vanity Fair piece by Chris Smith. Prevent the recruitment of coaches whose coach/team are in season, still playing. That's what Ole Miss was. Ole Miss was still playing. They were positioned for the college football playoff for the first time in program history. Didn't matter. LSU wanted him. LSU went and got him. And he welcomed the attention. Oh, I blame the calendar. And I get it. The portal was opening up. You've got to have a coach in place by such and such a date, or you're not going to have a roster for the following season, yada, yada, yada. Easy out. Easy out. And the Kiffin rule. But would this also change the portal window, though, if this comes to fruition? If the SCORE Act is indeed massaged in this fashion, would they change the portal window? Okay, your coach left. Well, I mean, they already are. You get it when your coach, and I'm thinking it out loud. And we couldn't really prove it. It goes back to what I said earlier. You can't really prove it unless you ask for phone records and so forth. We're going to dive into this tomorrow. We got Eli Lederman of ESPN. He's going to come aboard. We'll get his take on it. See what he has to say. I got reading to do. Want to thank Kale for keeping things straight and narrow. He's over behind the glass at the Steel Wheels. Follow me on social media. I'm on the Twitter world at Scott H Sports. Otherwise, that's it for Connecting Carolina, presented by FanStream Sports.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.